Before we dive into the main topic, please take a moment to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this podcast, and leave a comment to support the channel. Your engagement truly helps. Welcome back to the deep dive. Now, if you are the learner trying to, navigate the high-stakes world of university and advanced education, you know that success isn't just about what you know. It's about the sophisticated language you use to prove it.
It absolutely is. And that's really what today's deep dive is for. We've tailored this for you. We're not just giving you a basic dictionary of study terms.
No.
We're giving you a shortcut, a way to understand those silent expectations, that C1 and C2 level vocabulary that can sometimes feel like a gatekeeper in higher education.
A gatekeeper, that's a good way to put it.
Our mission is to really dissect the structural concepts, the strategies that define academic survival. We want to help you understand the true gravity of a term like, say, plagiarism.
Right.
And the really important strategic distinction between just cramming and what we'd call productive intensive study.
Okay, so let's start with the written product. When you arrive at university, suddenly the work you produce, it isn't just papers anymore. There's this strict hierarchy of documents.
It really is.
And each one has specific requirements for length, formality, purpose. So it's vital that you can distinguish between these accurately.
We can actually trace this progression by scale. So at the most foundational level, maybe early undergraduate work, you'll see the composition.
Okay, composition.
Yeah, it's short, it's focused, maybe only 50 to 100 words. It's really just demonstrating a basic mastery of a concept or, the language.
And then the standard essay.
Yeah.
That's kind of the bread and butter of undergraduate study, isn't it?
Exactly. It's significantly longer, much more serious. It requires a structured argument. We're talking hundreds or even thousands of words. But then it gets more serious.
Right, when it starts counting toward your final grade.
That's when you run into the assignment. And an assignment is, well, it's essentially a long, structured essay, thousands of words, usually a critical component of a course.
So it's a measure of your ability to perform a task based on what they've taught you.
Precisely.
And what about a project? Because that sounds pretty similar to an assignment, but the sources we looked at pointed out a crucial difference.
A very crucial difference. It's all about the emphasis.
The emphasis?
Yeah. A project, while it's similar in lengths, the emphasis shifts dramatically toward the student's own material, their own choice of topic.
So it's a big transition. An assignment proves you can follow instructions, but a project proves you can formulate your own question and then go and execute the research yourself.
You've got it. It's where you start to show that independence that's so critical for postgraduate work.
Then there's the portfolio. I think a lot of people might hear that and just think of, artists or designers.
It's broader than that, academically speaking. A portfolio is a curated collection of individual pieces of work. And crucially, this collection might include creative examples like drawings or mock-ups, right alongside the written analysis.
So it's showing a range of skills over time.
Exactly, progress over time rather than just one single submission.
Okay, now we're really stepping up. We're leaving standard coursework behind and entering the titans of academic output.
Yes, the heavyweights.
The work that defines a major degree.
So first, the dissertation. This is a long, research-based work. We're talking maybe 10,000 to 15,000 words.
Okay.
And it's typically required for a higher level degree, maybe a master's or an honors diploma. It's very comprehensive.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because then you have the thesis. People use these terms interchangeably all the time, but they are not the same thing.
Not at all. The thesis is the ultimate. It's the longest, most serious document you'll probably ever undertake. We're talking a massive, original, research-based work.
Original is the key word there.
Yes. Maybe 80,000 to 100,000 words for a PhD.
So what is that fundamental difference? Is it just the word count?
It's the scale, yes, but it's also the demand for originality. A dissertation has to show mastery within an existing field. You understand the current conversation. A thesis, on the other hand, must contribute new knowledge, something novel. You're not just summarizing. You are expected to create knowledge that did not exist before you wrote it. That leap in rigor it's exponential.
And that idea of creating new knowledge brings us straight to the ethical boundaries that govern this whole process. Whether you're working on an assignment or a thesis, preparation starts way before you write a single word.
Absolutely. The first essential step should always be creating a mind map.
That diagram, right, with all the connected ideas.
Exactly. It gives you the structure before you even start writing. Then, once you have that framework, you can start on the first draft.
The rough version.
The rough initial version, yes. But then we get to the formal expectations. The work must be submitted, handed in, formally by a deadline.
And those are usually non-negotiable.
Almost always. After that, the work is assessed, so it's evaluated and given a grade, and then the student will get feedback.
Which are the comments from the tutor meant to help you improve.
Right.
But this entire system, assessment, feedback, it relies completely on academic integrity. And if that's violated, the whole thing just collapses.
It does.
Which brings us to the one word everyone in academia fears: plagiarism. What does this really mean in this kind of high-stakes context?
Well, plagiarism is, simply put, using other people's work or their ideas as if they were your own. And for you, the learner, it's so important to get that this isn't just, poor scholarship. It's a foundational breach of academic honesty. It's an extremely serious offense.
And it's a growing problem, isn't it? Because of the digital age. It's just so easy to cut and paste from something you found online.
That's exactly why universities have become so rigorous about it. Students now have to formally sign a plagiarism form to confirm the work is their own. And, more importantly, they must formally acknowledge any sources they've used.
And to acknowledge isn't just saying, oh, I read this book. This is where that C1, C2 language gets really technical.
Yes.
It does. It means using standardized referencing systems, APA, MLA, Chicago, whatever the department requires, to precisely cite everything. The author, the date, the page number.
Why is that so important, that level of technical detail?
Because without it, the qualification you get at the end is worthless. This is the global standard for respecting intellectual property, and the penalties. They're severe: suspension, expulsion. Because the integrity of your degree and the university itself depends on this one standard.
But essentially intellectual theft.
That's what it is.
Okay, so that covers the writing and the ethics.
Okay.
Let's shift gears from producing work to taking it all in. The art of exam preparation.
A very different skill set.
We're moving from documents to study strategies.
Indeed. And there are different strategies, but, they aren't all created equal. Take cramming. We all know what it is.
Oh, yes. The last-minute panic.
That concentrated, last-minute study session right before an exam. And while we've all done it, it's rarely a recipe for real understanding.
It's just short-term recall.
Right.
Even if you're a genius, you still have to do serious revision. You can't just bypass that preparation.
You absolutely cannot. And a really valuable strategy, especially for exams that happen every year, is using past papers.
The exam papers from previous years.
Exactly. It gives you incredible insight into the structure, the question types, and how to manage your time.
Okay, so when it comes to just pure content, some things just have to be memorized, learned off by heart. But we learned that rote learning by itself isn't really enough.
That is a crucial distinction. Rote learning, which is just learning by pure repetition, it's a trap in advanced subjects.
Why is that?
Because if you just parrot back a definition without understanding the concept behind it, the second an examiner asks the question from a slightly different angle, you fail.
Yeah.
You have to synthesize and analyze, not just repeat.
So we need better tools. Tools that help with deep memory, not just brute force repetition. And that's where memory tricks come in.
We call them mnemonics. They're basically little cognitive tricks that help you recall complex information.
Like scaffolding for your brain.
Perfect analogy. Think of the classic English spelling mnemonic. I before E, except after C. It helps you remember friend versus receive. They're so powerful for managing huge volumes of data.
Which you need to do if you're going to know a subject inside out.
I love that phrase. It really captures the goal.
So if we bring all these strategies together, revision, practice papers, smart memory techniques, what's the ultimate recommendation for the learner?
At the end of the day, the best idea is to embrace the full challenge. It's to bury yourself in your books, which is a great idiom for spending the maximum time studying and to study intensively.
In a very focused way.
A very focused, productive way, until you truly know that subject inside out, completely, with absolute depth, ready for any question they can throw at you.
In knowing a subject inside out, that requires constant access to new information.
Which leads us to the environment of higher academic study itself, the resources that academics use. The whole system is driven by research. University academics are expected to carry out research, or, more informally, they do research.
They're adding to the global body of knowledge.
Exactly. And to do that, they have to stay current, by reading academic journals.
And these journals are.
Mhm.
They're like the gatekeepers of new discoveries. They're specialized publications that print verified papers or articles.
And that's another critical vocabulary point. The sources were very clear. You don't use the word magazine for this kind of publication. It's always a journal or a paper.
Okay, so in terms of getting these resources, what if your university library doesn't have a specific book you need?
You have options. First, you always check if you can access it online. See if you can get hold of it through a database.
And if it's something really obscure?
Then you can usually get it through an interlibrary loan. This is a crucial system. It's basically a global network where libraries exchange books and journals with each other.
So even really specialized materials become accessible.
They do. And the digital revolution has helped so much with this through open educational resources, or OERs.
Right.
These are online materials that can be freely used and shared by teachers and students anywhere. It's really democratizing access to knowledge.
But we have to balance this convenience with the reality of the effort involved. We learned academic study is incredibly demanding.
It really is. The rigor, the deadlines, the depth of research,
Yeah.
it all takes a toll.
And that intensity is why, sadly, some students drop out.
They do. They leave the course before the end because they just can't sustain that focused effort that's required to meet those C1 and C2 expectations.
But the vast majority do persevere. They make it.
Right.
They survive until finals, those last big exams, and they come out the other side as well-qualified members of their future professions.
Equipped with rigor, discipline, and most importantly, the right language.
So this deep dive, we've moved pretty quickly through the essential vocabulary of higher education.
Yeah.
We've defined the huge difference between a thesis and a dissertation. We've navigated the ethical minefield of plagiarism and the technical need to acknowledge sources, and we've mapped out study techniques from mnemonics all the way to intensive study. I mean, just understanding this high-stakes language is the first real step to being well-informed.
It is. And that brings us to a final thought, which kind of builds on those realities we just discussed. So, given that academic study is so demanding and that some students do drop out,
Right?
the ultimate strategic question isn't just how do I pass my exams, it's how do I sustainably maintain the intensity required to know my subject inside out without burning out.
That's the real challenge.
Mastering that long-term focused rigor. That's the true test of becoming a well-qualified professional, one who's prepared for whatever complex challenges your career is going to hold.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like, and leave a comment to support the channel.